I don't need no one to save me. I was born to be the greatest. All that time in that basement, all that time isn't wasted. Rapping getting faded. I just wanna tell my mom that I made it. Just wanna be the topic of the conversation. Used to rock the gold plated. Now I'm wearing gold chains like I'm famous.
First time travelers. And I'll go back to you, Austin.
I'm gonna have to start with Brazil because there's diversity there. For the most part, everything works. There's beaches, there's warm weather, there's sand dunes. There's a diversity of terrain in Brazil. Everybody knows about Brazil already. Number two, I would say Kenya because if you're black, it's a eye-opening experience to see black people on billboards, black people in the airport, black pilots, black restaurant owners, black everything, and it's always something to do 7 days a week. And like I said, most people want to get into action. And then third, I would have to say Santiago, Chile. And to me, that was one of my best countries in South America because it was more sophisticated. There was something to do 7 days a week. You can't explore that whole city in 1 month, in my opinion. And it's a different class that's in Santiago for sure, though. I would say.
Okay, perfect. All right. Let me go with you, Dre.
I would say just for convenience and because the numbers say also forget about what Andre says, there is over 1.5 million people that live in this country, and this is of Americans that already live in this country, and this is Mexico. If you're a first timer going to Cancun or going to certain other areas around there, you'll find your Walmarts, you'll find your conveniences, you'll find not better paved roads and things like that, and you get a chance to enjoy some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. If it were me, Mexico would be my first location that I would go to. It actually hosts the most American expats than any other country in the world. So you feel at home because you're more likely to run across another American in Mexico than any other country in the world. Secondly, I will actually put in Europe, Spain, whether it be, and I'll put two together. So this will be my closing: Spain or Portugal. You get a bang for your buck, but at the same time, you get a chance to enjoy a lot of great history over in those areas. And Portugal is considered the California of Europe because the way that it's shaped and it's right off the waters off the coast. So some of the best surfing is done in Portugal. In other words, there's a beach area in Portugal that makes a lot of people enjoy themselves, not just going to Lisbon. So there's other areas to enjoy around Portugal as well. Barcelona, Spain, you can't beat it. You got a lot of black people there from Africa, from Colombia, from Brazil, and with Portugal. Let's go back to Portugal real quick. Portugal is the #1 vacation spot of people from and relocation for people from Brazil. So if you're in Europe and you're looking to get your Brazilian on, Portugal is the place to be. Going back to Spain, same thing when it comes to some great people from not only from Africa, but also brothers and sisters that are from the States, as well as a lot of South Americans of African descent are in not Madrid, but in Barcelona. So it's really a lot of things to do in Barcelona. It's a city, it's one of those never sleep type cities. So there's always something to enjoy. And those are the three countries that I would say: your Spain, your Portugal, and Mexico.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Let's go with you, TSG. You're on mute, brother.
I have to agree with Dre on the Mexico. I would say specifically Cancun is probably the place I would start out with if I was telling somebody to go somewhere. You're gonna see a lot of expats there. It's easy to get around, especially if you're in hotel zone and stuff like that. It's gonna kind of have reminiscence of being like here in Vegas because it is pretty busy, but it's just a very easy place to go. You do have Walmart, all that stuff. So I'm not going to belay that point, but it's real easy. A lot of people in the States don't travel at all, right? Much less outside of 200, 300 miles of where they're from. So another place that's easy that doesn't get talked about enough is Canada, right? Because you have, depends on what side of Canada you go, you got English speakers and stuff like that. So, you know, you don't have to worry about the language barrier. Maybe some parts of Montreal I found, but I knew a little French at the time when I went. But that was a great place, Montreal. And then I would say another spot that doesn't get talked about enough is Panama. They use the American dollar and stuff like that. You have base over there and stuff like that, and it's a really nice place. So that'd be my 3.
Okay, perfect.
That's a good list.
Yeah, I'll actually jump in and then Fly. I'll give you. So Canada was on my list too. I would just say like around like after Halloween, get out of there because it gets cold as you know what. After Halloween, get out of there. And then Panama and Portugal. So with Panama, they use the US dollar. With Portugal, so if you're not able to get to Brazil, you still have Brazilians that live there, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you're melanin and you're looking for a melanin community, you have a melanin community there, right? Also in Panama too. And then I'll say like another one to throw in. You mentioned Mexico, so like that Quintana Roo area of Mexico, like Cancun, Playa del Carmen, a lot of expats there. Flyboy and I, we went out there. We have a bunch of friends that live there from the States, people that live there from Canada. So those are places where you can get your feet wet, where you're outside of the United States and you're kind of starting to ease yourself off the United States mannerisms and things of that sort, but you still have that base of support. So even if you aren't a native Spanish speaker or Portuguese speaker or French speaker, what have you, you still have those expats that can help you out. Flyboy, what say you?
Hey, real quick, they also built a passenger train, right? That pretty much goes around that Quintana Roo area now.
They did.
And so, yeah. And so, that will also allow people to get around the Quintana Roo area pretty quickly to explore multiple areas while they're there. So that's something that's a big push, which now I regret that I wasn't, that I didn't get, buy that property. There was a piece of property I was looking at out there and I didn't get it. Now I kind of regret it because I didn't know about the passenger train at the time. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have my ear to the ground to even worry about that. But you're talking about like as far as getting around and seeing new places all in one stop. Mexico is definitely a great place to start.
I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of that train. So does that train take you like from Cancun to like Playa del Carmen?
Yep. And another place that's starting to be up and coming is Tulum, right? So a lot of people are starting to travel to Tulum and buy property out in Tulum, but it takes you all the way around through all those spots up to Meridia, so it does like a little loop there. And so again, you'll get a lot of bang for your buck because it's supposed to be one of those high-speed passenger trains. And it's actually a buddy of mine, Mexican-born dude that I actually drink with on Mondays. He was telling me about it, and I didn't even think about it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even think about like how that the president that they have now, right? What is it? AMLO was his name. Dre, you might know.
I'm not
what's
sure.
His name. Anyway, the dude was doing a lot of stuff to try to build up Mexico, right? So he's really, and the passenger train was one of those things that make it more convenient for not only the travelers, but more so his own people to be able to get around, work in multiple cities. So there's just a lot of good stuff that's going on down there right now. And I wish I had invested in the time. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I did not I did not know about that that train. Man, Fly, I wish we had that, man, when we went out there, but it's all good.
I knew the train was coming when he was talking about the Tulum airport. So for me, the first place I would tell him to go is to go to Sosúa, Dominican Republic. The reason why I would tell him is because based on YouTube, 92% of the people who watch me are men. So I would tell them to go there because it would change their mindset on how they are willing to be dealt with by women in the United States when they go to Sosúa, because they'll see how of a commodity we are as men when you go there. The next place I would tell them to go is Costa Rica, because in Costa Rica, you can get that same Sosúa type vibe, but it also opens you up to doing other stuff that more travelers do, as far as going to different locations, seeing a volcano, something that you may never see from the place where you live in the United States, going to see the culture and all that, and still have your access to that lifestyle, which you so much fell in love with in Sosúa because that wasn't available in the United States. And then thirdly, again, I got to go because I'm a black man, and I feel as though too many black people don't know the history. I would tell them to go to Colombia. The reason why I would tell them to go to Colombia is because I need them to go to Palenque. Because if you go to Palenque, then that whole history that you've been taught in the history books may start to change. So while I said the first time Colombia was the first place I would tell them not to go, I would be also telling them that's the first place to go, because if you don't know your history and you're just going on what they taught you in the history books or what people say about all the people came from Africa without knowing that, hey, only 7% of black people came from Africa to the United States. Only 6% of people came directly from Africa to the United States. Most of them came through Colombia. And then you hear the story of how, wait a minute, when they arrived in Colombia, there was already black people there, melanated people were melanated there. Did everybody really come from Africa? So I think that I would tell them to go to Colombia and specifically go to Palenque. They're going to have to stay in Cartagena, but specifically go to Palenque because I need my people to know where we really come from. Not just that because it's not the fact that everybody came from there, but the fact that if there's a significant part that's missing or miseducation that was done to us, until we get that part right, we're going out into the world spitting nonsense that we don't know because we haven't done a journey travel. So
I like that one.
I agree.
And piggyback off of what Flyboy was saying with Palenque, is what I do like what's taking place now. There are more African Americans that are setting up Palenque tours to actually go see the town or the city of Palenque. I watched the video with you guys when you guys went. You guys were like one of the first brothers that actually really showcased on YouTube, even though others had little videos, but you guys really showcased on YouTube the importance of understanding our Black history by way of the tour to Palenque. So shout out to you guys for that. But yeah, it's great to see a lot more individuals that are coming down through Cartagena, and now you can go online and actually set up tours to go see Palenque, and it's not just a few guys that are going down. So shout out to Flyboy Way for mentioning that one.
Okay, perfect. All right. I think I've gotten everybody on that. So we are over the 2 hour.
Did you ask Los?
I did ask Los. Did I? Did I miss you, Los? I think so. My bad, Los.
I'm just chilling, man.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sober and I'm messing up. All right, go ahead, Los. Go ahead.
Well, I'll make it quick. And actually, 2 of them already have been said. Mexico, as a first-time traveler, that was the first place that I went. I've done the Cancun twice. I've done the Cozumel twice. I never made it to Tulum, and I do need to make it over to Mexico City. I want to go check that out. Don't have any aspirations to get to the west side of Mexico like that. But as a first-time traveler, that for the reasons that everybody else said, specifically what Sean was talking about, it's easy, to maneuver in Mexico and being able to wiggle out of stuff. Now, what I didn't hear y'all mention, though, is that you can get shook down in Mexico now. You know what I'm saying? You can find yourself in a situation with the law there, okay, and they just trying to get some money out of you. But you know, that's it. I mean, if you savvy and you understand, you can communicate in those places. Most of the time, you don't have a lot of English speakers. You'll be able to get out of the situation. So that is that. Mexico, Panama, definitely. You know, that was the first country that I just kind of like went to and was like, I'm by myself. I'm riding solo. This me. You know what I'm saying? And super comfortable. You know, like you mentioned, they used the U.S. dollar, so there was no exchange rate and none of that stuff. It's a bit cheaper than the United States, but it's on par. And you know, you're gonna run into Americans there for sure. You know what I mean? But it still gives you a different atmosphere other than what you would normally see in the United States and in other places that may be similar to the United States. So outside of those two countries, you know, shoot, man, I don't know. I would tell you Canada. I've never been, but my ex-wife, you know what I'm saying, she went to Canada, and she's from Belgrade, Florida. And when she went to Canada, man, she came back ranting and raving, talking about Canada. Let's move there and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, nah, I'm good on that part. But because of how she is as a person, you know, like, you know, if you're a first time traveler, you probably should consider that, you know, because it seems like Canada's really on par with the United States, and you'll be able to maneuver rather easily. They have the Canadian dollar, but you know, I'm sure the exchange rate is going to be pretty easy for you, because those are one of the top 2-3 things that you need to be concerned about is your safety and your money while you moving around in different locations. That's not where you're from. And just to plug, you know, the Flyboy Way, shout out to you for bringing up Palenque. You know, I got a video on my channel on there for doing that. You can see me and my family on that. But I own that in the metaverse. You know what I'm saying? You know, I got to plug some crypto while I'm on here, Learn Crypto TV. I own Palenque in the metaverse, all of it. And I found another platform today. I'm finna go buy it on that too. That's how much I know about my history and where I'm from. But appreciate the plug.
Oh yeah,
I'm definitely gonna look into more that. I kept telling myself I want to look into this metaverse thing. I mean, because I know the money, it ain't a lot of money. Like $1,000 could buy you a piece of land in the meta, and I know it might not be nothing, but
less than that.
Yeah,
I've
definitely been interested in just at least getting something, because it could be one of them things that might have a blow up moment.
It's better to have it than to not.
Mm-hmm.